So where we left it was a conversation that naturally arrived at thinking about AI. And we know that we heard from Data as well, or Datu as well earlier, that AI is here to stay. We know it is. However, AI is not human. It is of humanity. So I'd like to turn it over to the one person in the group who I think really believes in it, Daniel. Could you start us off with your thoughts? And then, gentlemen, it was fantastic that we were having a conversation. So please feel free to be informal and feel free to talk about, if you want to have your own little wrap up, feel free to bring up an issue, but really addressing reimagining wellness and thinking about the future of design. And to our audience, everyone, if you have ideas that are specific to either where we've been with wellness, or you have questions or comments pertaining to wellness or pertaining to the future reimagining wellness, we would like your participation, but please let's keep it to the topic on subject. We're specifically wanting to address together this aspect of wellness and well-being in the built environment by design today. Daniel, please.
Thank you, Sashi. I think coming from a humble state from Sabah, we are surrounded with ocean and mountain. So we talk about AI taking over wellness, but for me myself, I don't believe in AI in any way. So in terms of technology of AI trying to help and giving data up for the design aspect, I don't have faith in AI, first of all. I might offend anyone, but that's my point of view, because I think Sashi did mention about reimagining, but what I think is we should remember back who we are as a person, because everything like we did projects of hospital projects, hotel projects, big commercial development, but it all boils down to human factor. So whatever we did all this large scale, but it's all the while it goes down to this small little scale that relates to human. So we have to remember back that when we are being a small child, that we love to touch things. I feel that whether the surface of the surface is rough, is smooth, and is hot, is cold or cold. And we love to go outdoors when we are kids. We go out and play basketball, we go out to play badminton, we go run, but it either is rain or shine, also we go out. So I think by doing all this, we should remember back who we are in the beginning, when how we started since we are child. Like what Tennyson mentioned of memories of our childhood that actually bring us and actually bring us what we are now as a designer and architects in this industry. So I think no matter how advanced our technology is, but we still have to be constantly reminded that we are still dealing with humans. We are not dealing with computers. We're not dealing with our softwares and hardwares whatsoever. When we present our design, we talk to humans. We interact with them. We understand how they feel. We understand how they think. And then in later part, we describe the experience of progressing like our design. We guide them. Like for instance, you go into a hotel lobby. Then the next one you'll be experiencing, you experience the forest-like lobby. And then the next one you progress from space to space. It's all about experience that AI does not benefit at all, because we need human to interact with human that actually give them this kind of perspective. And of course then later the comfort. Of course you can have technology to tell you this room is 25 degrees, 24 degrees, it's just perfect for human. But we forget about how human actually walk around, and then it affects the environment. So if Sashi, you ask me reimagining, I still think that by remembering what we have done before, I think it's the way forward for our future for wellness.
So Daniel would rather that AI disappeared and we regained our humanity. That's our future.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you agree? Do we agree? Henderson.
I have different thoughts from what Daniel have shared. Even though we are from the same state, we are from Sabah. Most probably because it's maybe the environment I'm being exposed to. Like I said, I'm based here. I travel a lot, see things, and one of the main aspects is because I have an 8-year-old kid, and every day when you have conversation with him, he throw you words that you might not know. Let me share you a few. Ohio, negative aura, skibidi. Words like this, I don't think anyone would know. And these are the words, whether you like it or not, these are the words of the Gen Z. They're moving towards and they're evolving. No, I'm sorry, not Gen Z, they are Gen Alpha and they're upcoming. And this tells us one thing that it hits me really back in the head and say that whether we like it or not, and these are the upcoming generations, and they will be running what we are doing, and they will be doing it much better than us. With the help of technology, with the help of AI, with the help of anything that's coming through. And yes, there's one point where I agree with Daniel, which is AI, it's inhuman, it's a robot, it's being projected with data which are being uploaded by human. So they are actually filtering data and gathering database which you would want to know about, and they gather it and they find the best fit to fit into your answer that you were seeking for. So it's technically it's done by human, but that would be a really, really resourceful thing that would save time, I would say, in terms of research, in terms of wanting answers or opinions from different perspectives. It's something that I think it would shorten time. I take it as a shortcut to achieving what we would want to achieve. Of course, yes, human touch is really important, where we would to come in as a judgment to the answer or opinion that we would want. We will give the best input based on what was given, in a way that we can move on to what we think that it's best when we implement it into a space where we want to design, or a wellness system that we want to create. So that's my opinion.
Actually, you should look at it as it's not shortcut, it's making it more efficient. No, but think about it. Daniel, think about it this way. Think about AI as a tool to make work more efficient for you, so you got more time to go diving and play basketball. That's how you should look at it. I used to misjudge it as well, but I think the concern is a lot of people think that AI is going to replace your job. I mean, yes, it will replace the incompetent low levels, but those guys who can do how to do the work, it will never replace. You'll never be able to do the design, but you can make use of it to get things done faster. Like, I mean, AI has been around for a lot of time. I mean, even your washing machine, your aircon actually has certain capability sensors and stuff that actually generate. You take it for granted because you're used to it. So in that part of it, you actually need. I'll share with you a project we did. This was before AI became a catchword. This was before the pandemic. We did a restaurant. It's called the Farm Food Craft. Now it's called the Farm at the Sphere. It's basically a restaurant where it's full of greenery. The clients wanted to do a farm-to-table concept, so they wanted plants. The whole restaurant would be full of plants, and the plants were actually edible, and they were actually part of their. They can use it part of the ingredients in the food. So the good thing about it was my clients were actually also horticulturalists. They were the ones growing the plants and stuff. And at that point of time, I think it's about 5-6 years ago, there was this trend of biophilia and stuff, and everyone was just throwing plants into any space. Okay, every restaurant had plants going on, and the thing is, within a few months they all died. So people didn't realize how difficult it was to maintain plants. But these clients of mine what they did was, I only found out much, it was a good learning process because they were horticulturists. And they started putting sensors all around the space. And that's when I learned something new from them. See, a lot of people assume that plants, you need just light and air grow. But plants need more than that. They need a certain kind of temperature. And there's one thing most people don't realize. Plants need fresh air, moving air. So basically, if you have an indoor space and your air is stagnant, plants don't thrive. So what happened was, this guy, he had sensors all around the restaurant. And he could read... No, listen, hang on. No, there's a lot of artificial stuff. Okay. Yeah. Okay, anyway, yeah. So he had sensors all around to basically check airflow, air filter and stuff. And then we actually had fans, extractor fans and stuff in the restaurant where we could control. So basically, when the restaurant closes at night, there's actually still... I mean, yes, we got grow lights and stuff, but we also got artificial ventilation and stuff. And he realized by looking at the readings, the areas where there was less ventilation, the plants didn't thrive very well, and then we could change it a bit. Even when we had fans, we even had let's say a series of 3 fans. We had one fan rotating one direction, the other 2 fans rotating a different direction, just to create the airflow. And all this data that he collected. But the thing is, that time we were not talking about AI, so everything was trial and error. We see, and then we tweak. We see, then we tweak, and then see how it goes and say, oh, that's the right idea. But just imagine if we had computational power to actually work on this, it could already tell us, oh, actually, this one we need to open it a bit more, this one a bit more, and then the plants will thrive more. Like I said, I have done a lot of restaurants with plants inside it, birch and all that stuff, and you realize that what you don't realize is when I talk to the clients, they are actually spending a lot of money trying to maintain, change our plants. But if the environment is suitable for the plants, let's say thrive, you won't have to spend so much. Okay, give you an example. The green wall of yours that you talk about, how much to maintain?
Cannot tell, that one cannot
I
tell.
see.
Secret.
There you go, you know.
Secret. But it survived.
Yes, but at what cost? But at what cost?
Okay, I mean, it's okay. It's not more on the, I mean, it's more on the, the grow light. It's not about the air ventilation or whatever. I mean, yeah. Of course, I think, if let's say to add on, I think AI really facilitate in, for example, I think you pointed out a good point. I mean, just imagine if let's say you have this 91.55 meter high green wall. If you don't rely on technology, I think if you rely on a human go and do the irrigation, do the fertigation, it doesn't work. So that's why we actually have this all this AI, which is actually an app. So let's say there's any cloggage of the water, because with plants you need a lot of waters. So of course the water actually we actually gather from rainwater harvesting tank, and actually the rainwater harvesting tank can actually supply water for all the plants within it can sustain for 2 days. If let's say there's no rain, it can sustain for 2 days, and it can actually water all the plant. So I mean that's why it's very sustainable. At the same time, we actually use apps. Let's say the particular pot of plant clock, actually it will send a message to the apps, and the maintenance people, they actually can know which pot or plant actually have issue. So that's why I think AI comes into very handy, you know. I mean, as much as I agree with Daniel, I think AI actually facilitate in our day-to-day. Let's say if you are a designer, or if you are, sorry. You see, for example, I mean, if let's say you are doing, for example, this project itself, because it's a very tight site of 0.7 acres, so actually it's a client requirement to have BIM. So the client actually, we say, you know, we need to have a building information model in BIM. So you have all these, we have all these clash analyses where, you know, the consultants, all the respective consultants, if you want to do this project, you must be able to do BIM, which is, you have to do this Revit model and then integrate whether there's any clash analysis, because it's very small site, and because of the fact that the design itself is not center core, the core is actually on one side, so the AHU room is on the far end. So for the AHU to serve the other end of the office, you need a deeper AHU ducting. So that's why the floor-to-floor height for this building is 4.25 mm, when our other buildings is 4.2 meters. So that's why I think AI managed to detect all these thing where we know which area need to be certain height or certain provision, where the beam is, where the ducting is. So it's very important. So not to say, of course, AI can only facilitate, and I agree with Daniel, we need human touch. All these things are actually, you have to live with it, and you just use the skill
to facilitate in your day-to-day work. For example, myself, I mean, I'm a very keen drone photographer. So actually, I learned to use drone, and actually, I'm a drone photographer now. So basically, for example, if drone as a technology actually offer you a different dimension of a building. Let's say you want to look at a building in a different perspective, you want to appreciate a design. Actually, you need certain angle you cannot take from a street, you cannot take from other building, you need a drone. So I think all this technology actually facilitate in our passion and in our day-to-day work. I think, yeah, we have to live with it. I think I agree with Dr. Sim, and I agree with Sashi, you guys, you know, we have to live with it. You cannot remove it anyway, you know, you just have to live with it. And the moment the client say, oh, I want this to be BIM, you know, you just maybe have to do it. So, yeah.
To clarify,
Okay.
I think AI for our this generation is perfectly okay, because we use the data and whatsoever to help us to design, because we have the design skill. Because what if our next generation, they are over reliant to AI? Because one of the issue is my office, one of the graduates actually start using AI rendering. That is the worst thing we should have done. Disaster. Because AI, you can render an image, you just key in your parameter. I want a green building with plenty of plants. They will come up with fantastic image. But there's no design intention, there's nothing, just a few words. So I was, at that point of time, I was a bit sad because this is where our next generation might be heading. So the reason why I said we shouldn't rely on AI is, there's no doubt about the data and all this stuff, but next generation, they might lose the skill. They might lose the skill. They might not be able to understand the human touch and human interaction, because they just rely on, I just key in a few words, it will come up fantastic images. And then on top of the landscape, the trees, then the indoor plants, for our higher-centric project, we realized plants need to sleep. We made a huge mistake. We have the grow light in the atrium. Then we have this fantastic green stone bamboo. And then it was dying because it was indoor, we don't have enough light, and we started to put in the grow light. And then we, as designers, said, I don't want to lighten up the grow light in the morning because it will sort of disturb the ambience. Yeah, it will disturb the ambience because it's going to be too bright, blah, blah, blah. Then, why not, I did suggest at that point of time, why not you turn it at 12 midnight and go through 6 o'clock in the morning? Okay, they did that, the hotel did that. Oh my goodness. The bamboo would die faster. Why? Because then I consulted a local nursery. Said, Daniel, you have to remember, we humans and all living organisms need to sleep. So then we decided to on it at 6 o'clock in the morning until 10, 11ish, before the hotel guests check out. So when they check out, they can still enjoy the ambience, and then the bamboo can sleep. That's where I learned, and then it's a very valuable experience.
Daniel, I'd like to say a couple of comments to all of this, just to add to the conversation. Technology is of our consciousness. It contains the human consciousness. We imagined it, we created it. It aids us in every which way, facilitates our processes, makes life easier in some ways. It's never going away. I think what you're talking about is also equally critical, that our knowledge that is distinctly human requires to be preserved. And then I was having a conversation a little earlier with someone who is in the medical profession. Ramesh knows, I was a little perturbed because he knows a lot about wellness and far more progressive than we are in design. And thinking about the future of design, we don't yet know quite where wellness is, but there are studies from all the major Ivy League institutions around the world that say that our profession is at risk. Architecture and design as we know it today will disappear in the next 10, 20, 30 years. It will happen differently. So then how do we preserve creativity and this knowledge that you're talking about that requires to be preserved so that we are always in this, our technologies are in the service of humanity? How do we preserve the knowledge that is in the wellness end? On the one hand, we know that human wellness, that we need light and air and good views and quiet and peace and tranquility and nature, all of it, in order to heal. We need the contrast, we need beauty, we need color, we need all of it. How do we preserve that knowledge and let technology design with it? Who's going to do that?
I add on a bit on that. I think taking on the AI, I'm very prone to technology, so I trained from the UK, so I seen my day with the Ballot School. It's already flying with, you know, the way we experiment. 3D Max is already off the world. It is beyond. Okay, so now I think from architect or interior designer, the fundamental, the new subject probably gonna introduce to our education. Probably we need to get into psychologies, human health, health science, well-being. All these subjects should be part of the new education system, in my opinion. AI, it's a tool. I mean, I know a lot of designer, a lot of architect, you know, experimenting with AIs that as a tool to create extremely incredible spaces or design. We use pen. I still use pen and sketch, and I'm the very old school. Pen, if I would translate it, maybe the pen is the AI of our future, is how we instruct them. What knowledge we have as an architect or as an interior designer. I think the thought is not just what we discussed about yesterday, the proportion, the axis, the size, the scale, but really what human need, the human science, the health science of it should be part of our, or the new educational system into the program. That's what I thought. Yeah.
I agree with that.
I agree with
100%.
that. I totally agree with that. I mean, with the technologies all coming in, you cannot avoid from accepting it and also reconcile with it. I would say, like what John say, you know, we need to have our own basic fundamental design skill to actually operate all these things. I mean, a good example that just now Daniel mentioned, where his staff actually use it to generate a 3D bluntly, I think that is really not acceptable. But if you have your own design sense and your rational thinking, and you use it very wisely, I think it's a skill that actually will enhance your design offering to the client. I mean, you will be able to produce a design that can actually cover more aspects. Because if AI can actually generate a lot of data that actually can assist you to do your design, why not? I think it will be beneficial for you guys and also for the end users and also the client eventually. So I think I totally agree with, yeah.
Because from our era, architecture or design course are skill-driven, concept, proportion, you know, all that, very fundamental. But we don't have environmental science. I mean, those they have. Now we work with environmental scientists. We work with healthcare wellness specialists. But if these courses or some of these courses can be part of the syllabus for an architect or for designer, I think this will change how we start to pen the first idea on how we want the space to be. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I agree with John that this should start at education level in uni. Yeah, it should start much earlier.
But at the same time, I think the uni also must not forego all this fundamental skill of sketching. Because I think until today, like even though I'm from the developer side, I do a lot of sketches. Send to the consultant so that they're easy to understand what we're trying to say. So I think the fundamental must be there, the basic must be there, but at the same time, you can inject a bit of all these AI skills. Agree, totally agree.
Yeah, because we use sketching, our sketch actually flows with our mind and our creativity. If we rely
Future, maybe they flow with words. You know, like the kids, my kid now probably would just say, right. You know.
Pretty much like key in what keywords that you want, and then they'll do the projection. I think the key is the key of communication, a quick key communication, and how do you express your thoughts quickly, and the communication would run through back and forth quickly, and it's delivered in the right way. So either it's either or sketches wise, or it could be like nowadays phones like Samsung, they have pens where you can sketch it and just send it and duplicate things quickly than the traditional way. Not to say the traditional way of having pens are bad, but the implementation of we are all Samsung users. Sorry, Sashi, I know Apple is from US. Yeah, so yeah. The key is to have AIs and technologies to support what we have in mind and we would like to express.
So it's to stay ahead of the AI and to keep the humanity in it central, maybe?
Exactly.
Okay.
we have to be always ahead of AI. Yeah,
Always
agree.
be ahead of
Yes.
AI. Well, the alpha generation is already there. They are very familiar with it. I must say, I feel very grateful to AI because, technology, because during the pandemic when the world got shut down and we were all isolated, it didn't matter whether we were digital or analog, we learned super fast how to communicate, which means that as human beings, that's one of our essential needs. And so if we continue, this is far more pleasurable to communicate in person, but if we can continue to take advantage of that AI, use it for our very best well-being. One of the other things I hear that would be interesting to hear from you, and then maybe we'll start wrapping up, is that medical science has advanced so much that in this decade, the surgeries as we see, so for those that are in hospital design, healthcare design, that the hospitals have transformed dramatically. Surgeries will be changed. They will not be invasive. In fact, we will all be like primitive from the Middle Ages where we cut open people to, take care of their hearts, as the cardiologist told us. So what do you think about that? Are you aware of it? How do you think that level of technology will affect wellness both in a specific healthcare environment context, but also in the bigger design environmental context? Any thoughts?
I have a bit of experience in this. Not quite to that level, but I think now everyone's going more towards holistic care and non-invasive. I mean, I give you a personal example. During the pandemic, we had back in Malaysia, we had a lockdown. The whole world went into lockdown, so we went into lockdown ourselves. And one of the issues was also, like I said, I live with my mom, but at the same time, we also have an apartment somewhere else. So during the lockdown, and my mom she's 84 this year actually, and she still goes down to the market, sees her friends every day, nearby. And when the lockdown happened, that all stopped. Okay, and then she couldn't go. And then we also, because of the kids, Malaysia, remember they had this rule where you couldn't get kids under 12 to go in the car and all that kind of stuff. So I used to sneak my kid once in a while to see her. But because of all this, her level of human interaction dropped. And she started developing issues, started hearing voices, sounds, talking to the head and stuff like that. And of course, when you talk to the traditional medical practitioner, they'll say, they'll want to prescribe drugs and all kinds of stuff. That's one thing we didn't want to go down that route. So, but after checking with a few specialists, we realized, let's try to see how we can mediate the thing. And then, so we tried to increase interactions. Like I would sneak my daughter over to the house, try to avoid the police roadblocks and all that kind of stuff, and then get that going, and it actually helped. So you realize that, yeah, I agree with that. So basically, the future of medicine, medication is also not, it's like I said, it's not invasive anymore. There's a lot of things that you can use to basically treat someone. And it's usually quite holistic. It's actually, it's not just giving them medication and stuff, it's interaction, it's your environment, you know, the smells, the sights, the sounds. Actually, all that is actually interrelated. You know, it's, yes, back to this, you know. And so that means, if you think about it that way, a well-designed environment, either work or home and stuff, actually, and we all know this, but I think it's in the future, as technology increases, we can actually almost maybe predefine these are the set of criteria that we need that can actually make sure that someone's being, health, everything is taken care of by purely by the way the space is designed, interaction, how it reacts with the environment, the climate and stuff. I think that comes into play, you know. And I guess that's human interaction. That's actually very important. I mean, everyone knows about biofailure, but if you think about the definition of biofailure, it's the innate human condition that wants to relate with nature or with another living being. That is something I think science has already proven that we are creatures. We want to be part of a natural world, natural environment with other people. Whether some people who are introverts are admitted or not, I think that there's an innate thing there. So I think as our duty as people who form the built environment, we have to understand that and see how that can benefit someone's mental and physical health. And I think with technology and better understanding of science, how the human body works, how the human mind works, which I think now is a very big field. People trying to study that. I think that all that data, information comes from it will actually help inform how we proceed in designing spaces and interiors and environments. I think that's already kind of happening now on the way, you know.
Are there any other comments? Do we want to add anything to this?
To add on to that, what Ramesh have mentioned, it's pretty much what he've gone through is to provide a so-called cure solution to it. Whereas I think when it relates to space where I was involved, one of the corporate building was to incorporate prevention, where you are actually in a space where there's no daylight, there's no exposure, low ceiling heights, and pretty moldy space. When you're involved in spaces like this, and you have to turn that building into a interactive space where people would work in there, people would interact in there, and there's different departments, different divisions, and how do you create a prevention to them where they would be healthy, and it's incorporative of human-centric into space, awareness of wellness, where they behave that would be turned into a productivity in their daily routine. So that's where, you know, when you're dealing with limitations and restrictions like that, AI and technology would come in to stimulate things like that and turn it into a prevention that would assist them, that would help them in their daily routine of interaction, and assisting them of having a healthy environment, like let's say a filtration of monitoring of the air quality, where they get to have healthy air even though they're into a very enclosed space. And lights, daylights would play a very important role, because why? When you're confined in a space and there's no day and night light in there, it's only purely artificial. You lost sense of time. You're solely based on your watch. It's like what Daniel mentioned. Human needs to sleep, plants as well. And when you're lost touch of that, it tends to affect you mentally, right? So the implementation of technology, like let's say, even though you have implemented of artificial daylight into space, it could be time. It could be adjusted based on the day routine and time. Let's say it's 6, you have a dusk or a dawn kind of lighting effect, and that helps to tell you what time it is, and it affects you mentally. So what I think is, these are the things that as a designer, as an architect, we should set aesthetic apart as a secondary, the functionality of adapting a space that's functional to a well-being space, and having technology to play an important role of assisting to create a mentally and physical healthy space is crucial. So look into that, and that's one of the solutions that we could reshape how we think, reshape how the conventional way should work, and break the boundaries, and have a well thinking of how a great space should be.
Sasha, I just share a little bit of one of the healthcare project we've done. I think when we approach government healthcare project, they will give us a set of standard design with very deep space planning, with no window overlooking. So when we receive it, I think the fundamental aspect that we have to understand is the feeling, the experience of the patient. Because once you go into hospital, you feel very depressed. I feel like you go in, you might not come out already. So that's the reason why when we design, then we always have pockets of courtyards that actually bring sunlight in. And for this case, we purposely put the recovery bay, meaning that you are being put asleep for surgery, and then when you wake up, the first thing you see is a courtyard with plenty of trees. So when you wake up, you feel like, oh, I'm still alive. So we always put ourselves in this kind of situation that what if you are the patient? How actually you go into the surgery room, and when you wake up, what is the first thing you want to see? So if you can see that, or you can still see a blue sky, then you would be very grateful that you are still alive. So that's a little bit of design technique that we imagine ourselves in the shoe of the patient, that actually helps the wellness, the wellness architecture itself to improve from the standard design that we have been inheriting for a long time.
Just a bit add on. I think I put on the architect's cap first. So I think most of the time, I think when I was an architect, I like to do this exercise after upon completion of any of my projects. Actually, I like to revisit those buildings that has been completed. I will try to look at how, I like to think of this notion that the design actually, the end product, the architecture or space that created actually have two ways communication. We as the architect, we design a space, we envisage that this space is supposed to be this way. But eventually, when it comes to the end users, right, sometimes they use the space differently. So that's why when I was an architect, I like to think of this notion that whenever we completed a building, I like to revisit this building after maybe a couple of months. Then when people when people start to populate, when people start to use the spaces, actually sometimes these are the things that you can observe, and perhaps you might get a different perception of how eventually next time when you design a space. Because normally we as a designer, this is architect's cap. We as a designer, we always feel that we are we seems to know, we assume that we know this, we know that, people will use this way, use that way. Sometimes space doesn't function that way, because space are actually fluid. People actually will use space very differently from what we envisage. So I think moving forward, even though with the use of AI or whatever, I think we still need to have this personal touch where we revisit all this building to verify whether whatever that we envisage, is it how people are going to use this space. So I think moving forward, I think this should be something very fundamental that I would think I would like to share with the crowd. I think this is something, even now as a developer, okay, put back on a developer cap even now as a developer, even though I complete this building or that building, I would like to bring my kids along, let them see the space, let them feel that, daddy is doing something, very different, it's very noble, we are actually creating space, we are creating opportunity, we are creating space where people actually habitate it or use it for office space. So I think, this is something like a post-mortem to me. So even though with the AI, I think we should do this step as a designer, to further explore how people might use a space. Just for sharing this one.
I think Excuse me, I think those are great thoughts. I'm choking up because we're coming to the end of this. Shame. Maybe we can, as we wrap up, parting words from each of you. But parting words still staying in the future, could we start with John and just literally go around the arc there? Could you tell us what is in the future for you in the next 3-5 years? Wouldn't you like to know? John, yes.
3-5 years? What's
Yes.
happening?
What is your future, John?
Do more diving. Gonna first get my dive master list up first. Future. We slowly but definitely started the tech team. So we start to look into AI very seriously. So we have a unit in office that's just really looking to how to explore, how to use technology. We want someone just to keep constantly inform the studio that things are evolving. We want to keep on knowing that there are new things out there every day. We need to catch up, and we want someone also slowly to how do you put it, customize it or to design something that fit for the studio to use, to predict perhaps not only data but more design idea. I would say for younger generation. I mean, to probably also fast track a lot of processes. We use some of the tool already very much, especially for administration part. But now for not only visualization but generation of idea, or pattern for that matter, we look at generative pattern. We start to explore into coding. How do we create unique patterns out of something that I saw, something that I like after diving? Probably took some. I love photography, so I do a lot of underwater photography. So I took certain pattern and I will probably bring it back to the studio and say, if I want to see this turn into a chandelier that is moving, is that possible? So that they will do a lot of study using tools, many tools. Then from there, then we will probably straight into 3D printing. It's something that we explore a lot as well. And then from there, and then we realize to test the model whether the chandelier would work and how would it work. And then we bring in engineers to look at specific mechanical program chandelier that it's kinetic driven. So these are tools that probably we cannot really do. We had an idea, but we need help from this. So 3-5 years time, we see we advancing on that sector very much. We want to grow that part of our studio on that. Yeah. Over to you guys.
My dream, I can plug my brain into a computer and it will draw everything out for me, so I don't need any staff anymore.
Oh, we should.
If I can't do that, I think I'll go back teach.
For me, I know I'm the youngest among all of them, and to say this, life is pretty short.
I thought I was.
Yeah, life is pretty short. For me, in the next probably like 3 to 5 years, I would like to explore things that is not related to our industry. I know we are good in our respective industry. We do what we do for bread and butter and to explore new things. But I think extending our wings to reach out to different industry, different things, collaborating with different industries or brands to curate functional things that would benefit the society, that would benefit the environment. To me, I look at things that way, and I would like to explore probably in terms of products, in terms of solutions, in terms of system, to bring this, or it could be messages to the young ones, to the upcoming ones, or the existing ones. How do we make life easier? How do we make life better in a way that wellness is well addressed. Especially we're living in a world that stress doesn't come with ages. You have kids, 12 years old, 8 years old, dealing with anxiety, dealing with depression. So how do we create solution system that would benefit to them or to us as well? Yeah, I think I hope that the industry, the architect, the designer would play a role of that, and I myself would initiate that. Hopefully, I will be able to come up with things like that and serve the society and community.
I think in 3 years' time, I'll be 50. I'm 47 this year. So I know a lot of people say I don't look like 47.
Unbelievable.
In 3 years' time, I'll be 5 series. So, 5 series. So I think
He's the oldest in the group.
yeah, I think so.
No.
But the point is, when we have this milestone of 20, 30, 40, 50. So once I reach 50, actually I have a goal. I can travel more. I'll travel more, and like what John said, I will have more diving trips. I love snowboarding, so I will go more. I will go Australia in the middle of the go Australia on July for snowboarding, and then January, February snowboarding in Hokkaido. I go Hokkaido every year. Every year. So, but for me, for my practice, for next 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, I will still keep AI with an arm length distance. So, because I have this fear of this AI that we are being over reliant. I just one day, just to share, like one day, my younger kid has said, how 100 plus 150 is what? The sum of 100 plus 150 is what? Let me get my calculator. So if you then it give me a shock. Hey, 100 plus 150 is 250. It's so simple. No, I need my calculator to make sure that I'm right. So they have this. They without this kind of AI, they don't have that kind of confidence because they are over reliant on certain amount of data that makes them feel comfortable. That makes them feel that they are saying the right thing. So from that day onwards, I always have this fear of. So 10 years. AI, you are still at my doorstep, but I'll keep you in touch, but you're not coming into my house.
Okay, I mean, for me, of course, I would embrace AI. I mean, if you look at the days when we were still, I mean, when we don't have a smartphone, we can literally remember our house numbers, your friend's number, your girlfriend's numbers, number one, girlfriend number two, you know. You can remember all these numbers in your brain. But now, of course, you are relying on iPhone, but that doesn't say that this is wrong. I mean, this is something that, because the AI comes, so we use wisely. But of course, I think moving forward, I think for designers, I think definitely is a very competitive industry. So I think, of course, most of the designers, I mean, my personal advice as this is developer cap. So of course, designer need to be more versatile, need to be more flexible, and I mean, AI, you might really need to embrace it, I would say, because if you don't, others will be embracing it. You know, eventually, I mean, you have to. I mean, even though this is an industry where we do designs or we do problem solving for client, but eventually it's still a business. I mean, business, you still need to, jaga your own office, your own colleagues. So eventually, you might need to embrace it wisely, so that to remain competitive, I would say. So of course, I think as designer, of course, it will be very challenging. I mean, because of just one click or two click, things can be so fast, come handy so fast, So that's why it will be getting even more and more competitive. But from my personal point of view, I don't think AI will replace human, especially in the design industry, because AI can help you to generate a lot of data, can put together some space, but eventually you as the end user, you as the operator, you need to make your own decision. And these decisions are accumulated from your experiences and your, and of course your education. And of course, I think just now John mentioned about incorporating all these things into education. So eventually, it really depends on the end users, which is you guys are. So I would say, yeah, we should embrace it, but use it wisely, lah.
Well, gosh, thank you so much. You guys are absolutely amazing. I just want to say that while I'm super grateful to have the technology to communicate with people from long distances without ever having met them, my biggest joy has been to have spent time in an intimate dinner with these incredible minds and talents. I recommend it for everyone. It was so much fun. I've learned a lot. You're amazing and connected. So I want to thank you, each one of you, for enriching me and my life and for giving back to the world, for giving to all of us your time, your passion, and the benefit of all your thinking that's incredibly insightful. Thank you, thank you. Should we give them a round of applause?
Thank you. Oh yeah, I mean, can I just add on? I mean, for those who would like to visit the Bandara Housing 3, we can actually stand by one empty floor for you guys to have a look. I mean, for those that are interested lah. I mean, I'm actually asking the technical guy to get ready the ski. I mean, Sashi will be one of them. So I don't know whether any one of you guys would like to visit. If you want to, feel free to approach me, and then we can just have a quick look at what I have shared earlier, where we actually have this living wall of 91.55 meters, and it's the tallest in Malaysia indoor green wall. Yeah, I mean, if you guys are interested lah.
That's such a treat, thank you. So yes, we all want to see that. I got asked a question which was, why did IFI select Malaysia? Well, we selected Malaysia because, as I think has been iterated over and over and over, it's all about the people. And so we have had a relationship with Alvin. I have had a relationship with Alvin, long distance, and we have gotten to know each other, talking about design and talking about how to benefit the design community, not just in Malaysia, but in the region. Also then, of course, taking you all to the world, all of you to the world, and having the world be part of your world. And what that evolved into was talking about doing some initiatives, and IFI LEADS was an initiative we started last year, and it seemed like just the most natural thing. And so here we are, and it is all about human relationships. So I'm super grateful to Alvin and to ACG Media for being a part of this, for being enthusiastic about it, for making it happen, for bringing you all together, us all together. Thank you so much. And I am really thrilled, really delighted to share that we have decided that this will be an ongoing event, an annual event that will be co-hosted with IFI and ACG Media. It will be organized out of Malaysia with ACG Media, but it will be a regional event for IFI LEADS Asia. ACG Media, of course, Malaysia leads it, and after listening to Datu, it's just the right place. I think I need to move here, so I'm thrilled. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. I don't think that I could do justice to trying to summarize a lot of the stuff that was said, but it was very broad-based and incredible. And we will do a little write-up. We are committed to publishing it locally here with ACG Media, but also with IFI across the world. And then we look forward to doing this more year after year. And I want to thank each and every one of you, and especially Alvin and Juliet, wherever she is, and of course, the ACG team, all of you. Aisha, you're amazing, the entire ACG team. that helped pull all of this together. Thank you so very much. Thank you.